Thank you guys for tuning in the channel today. This is going to be an electronics install for the Tekno SCT410 2.0. What electronics did I go with? Got this Hobby Wing Easy Run Max 10 G2 ESC and the Easy Run stuff. Already had an XT60 connector there. And here's our censored wire. This is the 4000 kV motor. It's a 5mm shaft. It is a censored motor. I'll be installing that today, so stay tuned. For the instructions, got a 17 tooth Mod 1 pinion, and I'll be running 2S at our local track. You can refer to the instruction manual here. But for a 4000 kV motor, 2-cell, and 120 to 180 foot straight, recommends the 17 tooth pinion. What are we going to link it up to? Got a Fly Sky receiver here. This is the FSB S6. That will connect to my Fly Sky FSGT5 radio. Already have a 2-cell battery installed in here. That way we can set our servo horn and get everything ready to run. I've already disassembled some stuff. I went ahead and disassembled the motor mount here. As you can see, these numbers on the motor mount designate which size tooth pinion you should run. I'm going to be running a 17 tooth. So we'll get bolts into the 17 tooth hole right there. And another thing I did, saw this recommended online, is I have cut a slot right here. So I'll just be able to easily kind of put my electronics and receiver in here, and the wires will just be able to slide in instead of having to take all this apart and reroute my wire there. So, all right, let's get started. I think first off, I'm going to go ahead and install this ESC here. I've already kind of loosened these screws and turned these tabs to the side and removed the center drive shaft. And I think the best way that this was going to work is I'm going to put my ESC here and run my wires down through there. But that kind of gets a little close to the drive shaft, but I think it was okay. So maybe to start with, we'll go ahead and put some double-sided tape here. I also have a zip tie. I already pre-ran this under my ESC, so kind of give it a double layer protection to make sure it doesn't come off. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe cut some of my double-sided tape. This is just Gorilla double-sided tape. And since I'm using a zip tie, probably not going to overkill it. So I'm going to go ahead and slap this down on the ESC tray. I'm going to take my knife and peel a corner up here if I can. Get that ready for the ESC. And I'm going to push it as far over as I can and down. Looks pretty straight right there. Go ahead and mount that. I'm going to take my zip tie. Keep this thing from coming loose maybe. And before I do that, I may run this through there. Like so. That'll keep it out of the way of my drive shaft. All right, that looks good. We'll figure out maybe where to mount that later. Go ahead and pull this forward. I think we'll go ahead and snip that off. Like so. Don't think that's going anywhere. Put set this to the side. I'm going to go ahead and reroute the wire right here. Might give it a little bit of slack to make sure that the drive shaft will clear it. I'm going to go ahead and push that down. That looks okay. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up. Looks good. Drive shaft should have plenty of room. Shouldn't be rubbing that wire at all. I'm going to go ahead and route it through here. I think that looks pretty clean. I like it. I'm going to go ahead and tighten that up. Kind of like having the receiver box on this side. I think that's going to work out great. Go ahead and tuck these wires in for now. All right, now that our ESC is installed, let's go ahead and put our motor onto our motor plate. And it will go through this side here. And you want to keep your wires kind of facing up so they're not turned this way or maybe turned that way to hit the insides there. So let's go ahead and maybe set this off to the side a second. We'll go ahead and get that done for you. These are the 2 screws that came with a Tekno kit I had set aside. Till this point right here, they're going to get some Loctite. Don't want your motor coming off. Looks pretty good. Like I said, using the 17 tooth pinion, so I'm going to put in that hole right there. And then we're going to line this up. And I want to snug these pretty good. May go ahead and get my pinion started. And maybe not snug it down just yet. Give it a little Loctite on this set screw here. Give it a little Loctite in the hole as well. And we're just going to snug that for right now. All right, we have our motor installed. Notice my wires are facing up. I'm going to go ahead and install this back onto my chassis there. Should get these 3 screws and 2 screws there. Maybe while I have this upside down, we'll go ahead and add a little Loctite in these holes here. sure I get enough in there. Looks pretty good. Flip this upside down. Like so. All right, now that they're all kind of snug, let's go ahead and tighten them all the way down. All right, ESC's on, motor's installed. Let's go ahead and put our center differential back in. And we got to make sure, get it all connected to our drive shafts. And fit looks pretty good with the pinion there. I'm going to go ahead and snug that pinion down, the set screw of the pinion down. As you can see right there. I believe that'll work just fine right where it is. And let's go ahead and put all of this back together. That piece will go like so. Then get those wires out of the way. This piece goes right there like so. Let's go ahead and get these 3 bolts installed with Loctite as they're going into the aluminum motor plate. And these will just be threaded into plastic, so not a big problem there. May not tighten them all the way down until I get all the screws in. Might make it easier to fit back on there. Now that all the screws are in, I want to go ahead and just tighten these down all the way. All right, ESC is installed, motor is installed. Let's go ahead and see if we can plug our censored wire in here and our leads into the ESC here. Kind of can barely see, but this is A, B is in the middle, and C is on the end. A is going to get the blue. B is going to get the yellow wire here. And then C is going to get the orange. And you want to make sure and get that right with a censored motor. Still got to figure out what we want to do with this guy. Might just get some double-sided tape and stick it there. Not sure yet. Let's go ahead and plug our censored wire here. Should have a little tab right there. Should line up with a tab there. Go ahead and plug that in. There's also two arrows on the side here, looks like, so you don't mess that up. All right, might clean this up later, we'll see, but we're going to roll with that right now, how it is. Turn the truck around here. Now, we'll be plugging in our ESC and our servo into our receiver here. Might get a little bit more double-sided tape. Don't need a whole lot. For our receiver here. And maybe stick it this way. Looks like I have plenty of room on my leads right there. Keep that from flying around everywhere. This right here is our ESC. I'm going to take the light colored wire, and it's going to go into channel 2 here. The light colored wire towards the inside. This is going to be our servo, and it's going to go into channel 1. Just like so. Servo channel 1, motor and ESC into channel 2. All right, this is a bind plug. I'm going to go ahead and stick that into the bind part of my receiver. And probably about ready to plug this thing up and see what happens. Then we can set everything to 0 and put our servo horn on. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's plug it in. I want to pick it up in case anything's wired wrong. It won't take off. We'll turn this. Looks like it's looking for a signal. I'm going to take my SCT410 radio. I'm going to hold the bind button and turn that on. Looks like it's bound. I'm going to remove my bind plug here. And let's see. Give it a little throttle. Looks okay. Steering servo looks like it's working. So let's go ahead and install our servo horn. To do that, I'll turn the vehicle this way. I'm going to get the wheels as centered as possible, and then we're going to stick our servo horn on best we can to keep it straight. Like so. That looks pretty good. Servo horn is on there. I'm going to install this screw here with a little Loctite. Don't want this screw coming out easily. All right. Ain't fast enough. Need to adjust our endpoints now so we don't over travel and ruin our servo. To do that, I'm going to go to endpoint adjustment. When you switch it to right, it'll be stuck on right, and we're going to turn that down. Get to the 100 flashing. Let's just turn it down first, and then we'll turn it up. Go ahead and do the lift. Just turn them down some, and still getting a whole lot of throw. There we go. Start with it turned down, and then we can always turn it up. All right, now we're getting somewhere. So I'm going to fully turn my wheel here. And as I turn that, go into that full extension. See, I can kind of turn this. It'll turn that. You kind of want to go to the full amount, and you don't want any of this to start binding up. So maybe like right there on the left. And as you can see to the right, we're going to turn it up. Once you get so far, you can kind of see the wheels aren't moving and you're just really just overextending your servo there. So feel like that looks pretty good as far as endpoint adjustments. Looks like it could be trimmed a little bit this way. And I'm just using my steering trim right here to straighten these wheels, and then we'll go ahead and check our endpoints again. Might turn that side down a little bit. Can't tell for sure, but man, this thing looks like it's got a whole lot more steering than the 410.3. That's how it looks anyways. Could be wrong. Now that we have our endpoints set and all of that looks good, let's go ahead and install our little lid to our tray here. I'm going to tuck those wires down. Already got the bolts in there. Notice I routed my receiver wire up through there. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Got to figure out something to do with this little guy. I might just use some double-sided tape right in there. Not too sure yet. But this has been the electronics install on the new Tekno SCT410 2.0. Just got to get my body painted up. And we'll get this thing hopefully on the track and get some running video and get some reviews and thoughts on it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for just following the build series. Please continue to watch my videos. If this has been a help to you or if you enjoyed this video, please always like and subscribe. Thank you much.